Welcome in this tutorial on how to add values 0 and 1 to your raster and vector data. For this I've just taken some data from the animal management course. I'll build up a model real quick and I'll show you how to assign these values first for vector, which is a bit more complex. Then we can do it for raster, which is reasonably simple compared to vector. Right, so first we need some data. I'm going to add the research area, the soil map, so going to grab 7 map, and then we need a bunch of tools. Start with flip, which also extract by mask, so we'll grab that up there. I want to select buffer. I'll also show you how to clean up your attribute tables so that you can work with clean outputs, that your union makes more sense. Let's see, like I have another buffer add a field. If you type add field, just scroll down below, you'll find calculate field as well. And don't mind that this is messy at the moment, I'll clean it up in just a second. And we'll wrap this up with a union. There. For raster, it's a lot easier, as I mentioned earlier. Have our extract by mask and then reclassify spatial analyst. Should do the trick. Right, I'm just going to full screen this and I'll just order this a little bit. That's all we need for the raster part. And then from this, we are first going to clip soil map to the research area. Go ahead and do that. Then we're going to make a selection from that. Just real quick. And I would like to select, let's have a look. Oh, we'll do a buffer around the water. So the name is water. Okay. We'll run that as well. And we'll put a buffer of, say, 250 meters around that. Okay. Now you do have the option of selecting dissolve here. I choose not to do this because it makes the tool a lot heavier to run. It's a personal choice. You can either select that you want to dissolve it straight away or not. I'm just not going to do it right now. Just going to run dissolve it now. And I'm not going to enter tick any boxes because I just wanted to dissolve everything. Right. From here, because we've created a buffer, there's a chance that it's gone outside of the research area. I'm just going to have a look if it actually did that. So just on the edge of my screen here to add buffer. And as we can see at the bottom here, it's actually across the borders of our research area. So we're going to clip this again. Use that as input. It says input. And I'll pop in research area in as well. Use that as clip. Let's screen this real quick. So once we've done that, we want to add a field. Soon after, calculate a field, and soon after we're going to union. So let's connect these two and call this field, let's call it water suitability. And the reason why I call it water suitability is because then at least I know what criterion it concerns. And it says something about its suitability, because this is going to end up being a 0 and a 1, not just a 1, just a 0. It's going to say not something about just unsuitability or suitability. It's going to say something about suitability general. We're going to make it a short field. 0 and 1, obviously, short fields. And we're going to run that tool so that it adds the field to the table. We're going to calculate this field. And because we've dissolved it, it's just the one polygon. And I'll go ahead and show you that actually. So this one, as you can tell, this one's nicely clipped to the research area, and we're going to go into the attribute table. And you can see I've added a field, water suitability. Select that. It's just the buffer. That's all. Yeah. So it's nice and clean. There's no other data here. So it's a nice clean output. From there on, so we're going to calculate that field. We're going to say water suitability. And let's say that the water is unsuitable. Yeah, so we're going to call, actually no, we'll call it suitable. I'll call it, say 1. Yeah, so we want to be either on the water or within a certain range of the water, just for the sake of this example. Right, so we've selected our calculate field. So water stability is 1, and we're going to run. And from there, what we can do is we can union and union the output that calculate field, and we'll union the research area. Put those together. Little magic happens. I'm just going to slide this to the side. And if we add this to our display, we'll see that now there are 2 polygons. 2. One that selects everything outside of the polygon at first, which is suitability on 0, which is unsuitable, and the water with its buffer, which has a value of 1, which is considered suitable. Now, as you can tell from our nice and clean output that we had just now, we currently have FIDs. And that's a -1 and that's a 1. And this really doesn't make any sense. Nor does this. This is a 1. Okay. Now you'll quite often see these FIDs, but we can prevent them from being generated altogether. Because they're generated in a union tool. And they're under join attributes. Under join attributes, you click no FID. Click OK. Rerun the tool. That to our display. So now it's clean. Now you have a nice and clean attribute table. We can go to its properties, symbology, water suitability, add all values. And now you see red is 0, 1 is green, which is good. Green being suitable, red being unsuitable. And that's how you add values 0 and 1 to your vector data. Good morning and welcome to this continuation of the tutorial on how to add values 0 and 1 to vector and raster data. This part of the tutorial focus on raster data. I built up a model yesterday, which I didn't save, so I'm just going to build it up again, but for just raster this time. So we're going to need LGN7 at the research area, and we want to have a couple of tools. So basically we want to extract by mask. We would want a classify to alter field. So that's what we're going to use at some stage. We want to create a polygon layer, and that polygon layer will be dissolved at some stage. Again, it's messy. I'll clean it up in just a second. Right, so let's make heads and tails of this. It's behind the screen there. So this is going to be our workflow this morning. Let's start by reducing our LGN layer to our research area. And we'll pop that into our classify tool. Now you've all used reclassify before, so you know somewhat how it works. I'm just going to select Let's have a look. Select values 41 and 42. Those will be our suitable criteria. The rest will become unsuitable. And adding values 0s and 1 is as simple as adding new values 0, except for everything that is just mentioned 41 and 42. And then the rest will make it 0. And change missing values to no data. Alright. Let's run that tool and see what it's generated. Excellent. There we go, that looks right. So we've got the purple being unsuitable, the green being suitable. We're just going to make it somewhat more recognizable. Red being unsuitable, green being suitable. There we go. That looks a bit more familiar. And if we go into the attribute table, we see that we have two object IDs, one with a value of 0 and the other with a value of 1. Now, value doesn't say much about suitability. So basically what we want to do is we want to change the field name value to, well, we'll call it criterion number 1. So criterion number 1 suitability. Okay, and in order to do so, we would first need to make it a vector layer. So let's go ahead and do that. Just raster to polygon, run that, and then if I add this to display and go into its attribute table, we see that some things have changed. Namely, the value field, which we have in the raster format, is no longer there. It has instead been translated to grid code. So now we have grid codes 0 and 1. Yet still grid code says very little about its suitability. So now we want to change the name grid code to something something suitability. And that's what we're going to do with outer field. So outer field, in field name we're going to select grid code. We're going to call that criterion one suitability criterion. Yes. Is that a typo there? Fine. And as you can see, the grid code has now been changed to criterion number 1. Pop that over there in its place. Now, we all like working with clean outputs, so what we're going to do is we're going to dissolve this based on criterion number 1. Stability. Select that one. OK. Run that tool. This output here is exactly what we want. Just clean this up a little. To your attribute table. 2 polygons. One with unsuitable, the other suitable. Translate that to colors. This is what it looks like. And that's it. That's how you add the values 0 and 1 to your raster data. So that's the conclusion of this tutorial. Best of luck. As always, you can reach us on our GIS Help Desk mail. You can reach us through Discord, the link that's been sent in the email. You can contact us through our personal emails and also the FAQ and YouTube online. So yeah, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask us. Other than that, best of luck.